Okay, I haven't done the podcast in months, so I'm a little rusty. And honestly, I wasn't hoping to record an episode of the Biznode podcast anytime soon. But um, today's headline is extremely juicy, and I could not pass up the opportunity to talk about this. I love talking, and more importantly, I love talking about drama in the business world. As those of you who have been following the print know, uh, Elon Musk has acquired a 9.2% share. Um, he upped his previous he upped his share from I think 5.1% to 9.2%, and has published a offer to acquire Twitter. So, a bit of a summary on what happened so far. Uh, uh, Essentially, Elon Musk was asked to be on the board of Twitter after he disclosed his greater than 5% position on in Twitter, and they um, backpedaled. The Twitter board backpedaled on having him on his board, and issued a very PRE statement, saying, "Hey, sorry, we ran a background check. Who knows what that means, right?" Um, and essentially said, "Sorry, you can't join the board." And Elon Musk has said absolutely nothing since. Um, and all of us, well, I'm definitely fanboy. Fanboys and non-fanboys alike were like, "Where's Elon? Where's Elon? What's he up to? What's he up to?" And I think those of us who are a little prescient are like, he's definitely buying Twitter. I think all the people who know Tesla and SpaceX very well were like, yeah, he's definitely buying Twitter. Because if you've been following his companies, you also know how he behaves as a CEO. Like, he's not just about the talk. Like, he will see things through if he thinks it's important. Um, and yeah, today he broke his silence, and the tweet was, let's pull it up. Uh, it's very Elon. Okay. I made an offer. I think that's what it was. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Yeah. I made an offer. Okay. I made an offer, and this is a link to the SEC filing. So those of you who don't know what SEC is, SEC stands for Securities and Exchange Commission, and you need to make SEC filings anytime you buy shares, sell shares in a publicly traded company. So here, you can see that Elon Musk has made his offer, which is $54.2 per share, which is a 54% premium over the price of common stock on Jan 28th, 2022, which is the trading day before which Elon started buying. And it is also a 38% premium for the closing price on April 1st, 2022, which is when Elon's investment was disclosed. And it's very important to know why it was disclosed. So SEC rules state that, if any individual or firm acquires shares in a publicly traded company, such that their holdings in that company uh, like hits 5% or greater, you have to put out a disclosure saying what the purpose of your acquiring shares is. And we saw a bit of the drama around, oh, he filed a 13D, he filed a 13G instead of a 13D, and all that stuff. And yeah, I think I think Elon Musk is the best poker player in the world. Not because not because of his poker skills, but more as a metaphor. There is no one better at strategy and capital allocation in the world than Elon Musk. Elon Musk has created the best inflation hedges with his two companies, SpaceX and Tesla. They are the only two, that they're one of the few manufacturing, hardcore manufacturing, hardcore tech companies that exist in America at scale. And I think Tesla is one of the last few like pure play American automakers that's left that hasn't gone bankrupt. Ford is the only one that hasn't gone bankrupt yet. Um, so yeah, I think this is a man that knows what he's doing. What happens next? So these are my predictions. I think Twitter doubles in value from here on out within the next 12 12 to 15 months. So in the next 4 to 5 quarters, it doubles. Why? um, One, I suspect um, a lot of the suspended accounts that people think shouldn't have been suspended will be brought back. For example, Donald Trump will probably come back. And secondly, I think that we are going to see a renaissance in product development in Twitter, which will happen as a result of a lot of reasons. One, we're probably going to see a lot of layoffs in Twitter. Twitter has 7,500 employees. And if you assume a average, spend per employee in terms of annual pay of $50,000, I don't know what their actual compensation is. I tried to find it, the average pay per employee. I wasn't able to, but my guess would be 50,000. So if you assume their average pay per employee is 50,000 to 75,000 employees, that's the $375 million. Now, if you have a round of layoffs, you free up some of the, you have some cash to spare, and you can reinvest that back into R&D, user acquisition. And this in turn will increase the business value. And secondly, I think the directive will be to focus on free speech. And as Chamath Palihapatiya in the recent episode of the Elon podcast said, we haven't seen a social media take an aggressive stance that they are going to be a free speech platform. We haven't seen a social media platform that has taken a position of being a free speech platform. And I think this is going to be super important. If they position themselves as a free speech platform, that will become a feature, not a bug. Till now, it was kind of a bug because all the both liberals and conservatives have been proposing moderation measures of some sort. But if this works, yeah, I think it's going to change the paradigm of what social media looks like. And I wouldn't, and yeah, so that's my more realistic take on what will happen. Here's my slightly unrealistic take. I still think this could happen. And I think this can only happen if Elon takes over. I don't think anyone else has the, courage to pull this off. So I think someone has to convince US policymakers that TikTok is too much of a threat and it needs to be regulated, which means what? Like you have localized data storage. Data from the US doesn't go back to China, which in turn is monitored by the PRC. The data is localized in the United States. You have regulations around how that product is used and so forth. And there's going to be a bunch of proposals around TikTok being a company that's down with TikTok US being an individual entity that's separate from operationally separate from ByteDance and TikTok everywhere else. And that'll have a couple of effects. One, obviously it'll become one of the largest traded um, social media companies in the US. And to strengthen its position, it'll probably look to do a strategic deal with someone. And I think Twitter could actually benefit from this. I think Twitter could do a strategic deal with TikTok US, and maybe even merge with it. And if that happens, I think that becomes the largest social media company by market cap. Why? Because I think the sort of conversational context of Twitter combined with the rich algorithmic feed that TikTok offers, I think that's literally two sides, the two most important paradigms in social media right now, which is how do you have conversational context and how do you have consumption context. So consumption context, which is like how do you create solid context to consume media. I think TikTok does that better than anyone else. And how do you create solid context to have a conversation? I think Twitter does that better than anyone else. Reddit would be a close second to Twitter in that regard. So when you combine Twitter with TikTok's US business, I think, and if they roll out a new product with like both of those technologies combined together, I think that becomes a killer social product for the next decade. And layer on top of that, critical features such as, a blue check, a standardized blue check process, as opposed to the random process that exists today. You upload your passport, you verify your phone number and everything, and you don't really know when you'll get it. But if they standardize that and make it faster, I think that'll fuel like a massive increase in active users on the platform, and by implication revenue. The revenue is currently, let's pull up the financials. I think it's at a $6 billion revenue run rate. Let me pull up Yahoo Finance. There we go. So Twitter. See, Twitter is trending. Okay. So financials. Okay. My bad. So the revenue for 2021 is $5 billion, and their gross profit was $3.27 billion, and their net income their net income was actually negative. But it's not a bad business. It's actually pretty good. And $5 billion worth of revenue, high gross margin business at a $43.2 billion valuation is not bad. But I think we see this revenue expand like another 5-6 times if, whatever I've said. Even if you don't account for the TikTok merger case, if you just assume like they just normalize stuff, do a restructuring, do layoffs, increase the rate of product development, they increase the rate at which they test new features on the platform and position themselves as a free speech platform, like their revenue skyrockets from here. And obviously like they'll definitely launch a paid subscription thing. And if they do that, they're not just positioning themselves as this ad-driven platform, but as a consumer subscription platform. And the valuations for consumer subscription platforms tend to be very favorable, as opposed to just being an ad-driven business. So yeah, it's an exciting time. This was a bit of a ramble, but I wanted to share my thoughts. And yeah, this is going to be fun. And I'm excited to see what happens. And I hope you are as excited as I am to witness this from the peanut gallery. But yeah, I think this is going to be fun times. Thanks for watching.